to Retire Me. Today I wanted to have a quick look at building a very basic and quick retirement plan in a matter of minutes. As a starting point, it's easy to get overwhelmed with all the detail, and sometimes you just want to do a wet finger guess to see how things may look in the future. So today we're just going to do a real quick one and show you how easy it is to get off the ground, make some assumptions, and come back and fix them later if they aren't correct. So we'll choose a starting point. I'm going to pick the most likely candidate template, which is going to be a middle-aged Kiwi couple who own their own home and who are wanting to retire in the next 5 to 10 years and making sure that they'll have the right type of lifestyle. So we'll select that and just quickly run through the wizard to show you the ins and outs. So it comes populated already. All you have to do is adjust the details. So I'm going to call this plan my plan 1. And my name is Tom, say, and I'll keep my birth date the same. So I am, say, 59. The plan needs to run for 31 years to 90. And I plan to retire at 65. So in 6 years' time, I'm going to include my partner in the plan. We will retire together on the same day. Her name is, say, Sue, and we'll just keep her age slightly younger than me, July 1968. She's not retired yet, and we both are eligible for superannuation from our retirement date. Right, we'll just look at some income. You could do either before or after tax. After tax is easier to look at the tables later because you don't have to see the tax coming through. But if you don't know your after tax number, you can put your pre-tax number. I will just work with after tax and say that Tom has $100,000 per annum. And let's say that Sue has $80,000 per annum. Our KiwiSaver balances, say, I will go for $125,000. I'll keep the returns as they are. I'll keep the employer contributions as they are. This is now the new standard, 3.5% from April 2026. And let's say that Sue has maybe $95,000 because she's been working not as long as I have. Right. Then our assets. Okay, so we don't normally have that much in our bank account. Let's say we have $5,000 sitting in the bank account. We don't have a particular savings account. We've got an investment though. Say this couple has been diligent, and over the last while they've had let's call it a managed portfolio. Okay, and they've got maybe, let's get $200,000 in that managed portfolio, and they've been getting a constant 5.5% after tax return. Well, they have a home. I'll keep it at $950,000. It includes a mortgage. Let's make their mortgage a bit lower, $150,000 left to go. The mortgage was, say, 5.9. We'll leave it there. And they're paying at an accelerated rate. They're trying to finish. But they say that they think they've got, say, 6 years left to pay, which means that they are paying $2,500 a month, of which interest would be $738 and principal $17, in order for them to finish in 6 years, which is roughly when they want to retire. Right, now the difficult one, expenses. We've got 4 options, as you know. Either you know your monthly expenses and you can actually put the number down, or you spend everything and you don't normally have any money left over, or you can use our expense tracker, which we won't look at now, or we know roughly that we have maybe some money left over every month. So let's say we've got $500 a month spare at the end of every month, and that's after we've paid the mortgage. That's important. You don't want to double count your mortgage. And with that money, we'll put it into our investments, right? Then normally you have to pick a percentage of what your retirement expenditure looks like. We start at 70%. It's a good place to start. It means that on our $14,500, including our mortgage every month, we need about $10,000 a month. However, if we've paid off the mortgage, it's possible we can get away with far less. So in this situation, this couple, they think that they need $7,500 a month. And then what happens about the rest of the 30 years? Well, you get 3 different types of plans. We'll just go with a standard gradual decline, meaning that you're going to start spending less as you get older, because you'll be less able to travel and less able to do things. But effectively, you maintain the same amount every year because of inflation. There's some details behind this which you can look at once you've finished your plan. However, there will be health costs later in life, and there's three options we give you here as well. One is you decide to pay for it out of pocket as and when. There's a public means tested subsidy that's available, which we can explore in another video. Or you can take out private insurance, which will reduce those costs a little bit on average. So I'll just go with private insurance, something like Southern Cross or something along those lines. Okay, now for this example, we'll just keep all of the assumptions the same. The CPI, our investment returns, the volatility, the number of Monte Carlo simulations we will run. That produces a wide range of potential outcomes, so we can get some statistics around what's likely to happen in the future. And 1,000 is fine. Okay, and then we have the last little piece is our withdrawal strategy. Is when we retire, where does the money come from that we're going to live on? And you can choose to withdraw from the lowest returning investments that you have, or you can withdraw from the highest risk, or you can withdraw equally from all of your liquid assets. So it might be your investment, it might be your savings, it might be your kiwi saver, and your super you'll get regardless. Or you can do a manual prioritization. We'll just say we will return from, say, the lowest returning investments first. It's a safe bet. It gives you a quick summary of your plan. And then we're ready to build the plan. Now, there's a couple of checkbox items to remind you to do more complicated things later, like add life events, like selling a house or downsizing or renting out a property or an inheritance that might come your way, or getting a post-retirement job. There's all sorts of things you may want to add later. We're not going to worry about that for now. We just want to get a thumbs-up on what's happening. There's the caveat. This is not financial advice. This is a mathematical statistical model. For advice, talk to your financial advisor. Right, so there is the plan. It's got a 0% success rate. Isn't that a bit disappointing? Okay, but let's look at why. So there's two very important charts. This is your liquid runway. It's how much cash you have to live on over time going forward. And the second one is, what is your total net worth? So it's no good having a very expensive house worth millions of dollars if you can't buy food, right? So this shows you your overall value, including houses and cars and things like that you may not be able to sell. And they're doing pretty well there. It's a steady growth, and even the variation of statistics put them increasing their value over time. A good story. But from a cash flow perspective, well, it doesn't look that good at all. You can see they save. I'll just turn off the legend. They save, and then it spikes up as one of them retires. Then they start eating into their retirement. Then they start getting better until the next one retires and the superannuation kicks in. And then they start eating away at it until it looks like it all comes to an end in 2041 at the age of 75. And now that seems like a long way away, but it's actually not at all. It's only 10 years into their retirement. They've still potentially got another 15 years, 20 years to go. So not a good story. They obviously can't live on just their savings and their super. So some plans need to happen. And that's where it starts to get a little bit more interesting about your scenarios. We can go into the scenarios and we can say, well, actually, I want to have $10,000 at the age of 90. Find me some solutions. We won't delve into this at the moment. These don't look at things like selling houses. Those are what-if scenarios that you can play with later. But what it says is, well, if they delay their retirement by 2 years, then things look much better. And you can actually view the chart and you can see the difference. Look at that. The dotted line is the current plan. If he just waits 2 years, look at that, right? 2 years makes such a huge difference to their plans. But they don't want to wait that long. Who wants to retire at 67 when you feel like retiring at 65? And there's another option, which is, well, we're going to be a bit more optimistic about our returns and we will only work for another year and a half. Or we'll get a side hustle job and less aggressive on our investment returns. And it gives you all these options. Anyway, I'm not going to worry too much about that. What I was really interested in was just showing you how quick and easy it is to produce your Monte Carlos, but then also to go and have a look at the detail behind them to understand what's actually going on. And so what you can do in this chart is you can literally go in and have a look at the numbers. So you pick the table, and this is a very important table, which we have a whole separate video talking about, of what money is coming in, what money is going out, where you're drawing from, how this all works and what it means, and how things track over time. There's another one for your overall net worth, and there's another one with your cash flow and with your drawdown sources, your income versus expenses, your liquidity buffers, your expense compositions. There's a range of things to explore here, and you can look at all the numbers in great detail. And of course, you can come in now and you can say, well, what happens if I get an inheritance at a particular point in time? What happens if we sell our house? What happens if I get another job? What happens if we want to go overseas to Japan every 2 years, right? And you can start to add scenarios to the plan to try and make the plan work better. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to accept the 2-year retirement delay. And then let's we'll call it at that. You can look for other options, but generally these are the ones that are, it finds them pretty quickly. So let's just delay. Okay, and then we will apply that back to our plan. And what it's done is it's now put it into our plan. So there are Tom and Sue. Here are their finances. So they've got their cash in bank, their portfolio, the 2 kiwi savers that kick in later, their home, their mortgage. This is their starting position, obviously. Their incomes, which run out, and then there's super, which kicks in at certain dates. At their pre-retirement living costs, and then their post-retirement living costs. So they run at a little bit of a deficit for a while. So that is something immediately that would be worth looking at as well. The monthly income is 15, but they're spending 16.9. So something's not 100% right that they need to have a look at in their plans. Anyway, so there we have a quick intro to building a very basic initial plan, one that doesn't look great for them necessarily, but things are much better. That delay gives them all the money that they need if they retire just a little bit later. Hope it makes sense. Hope that's easy. Please look at all the other videos. We've got videos for different types of people in different types of situations. We've got deep dive videos into the various reports of what they mean and how to use life events. And there's an enormous amount of capability that sits below the surface of what you've seen today. Thank you, and good luck with your plan.